In this video, I want to talk about the unit circle and where it comes from and how to develop it on your own. And in order to do this, a quick reminder, cosine of theta is defined as adjacent over hypotenuse in my right angle. Sine theta of a right angle is opposite over hypotenuse. So let's take a closer look at this idea of the unit circle. So let's consider a unit circle. So we have a circle, its center, and the radius is given by 1. Further, I want the center of this circle to actually be at the origin. So the circle's centered at the origin with radius 1. And I'm going to draw a triangle. A right triangle, so I'm going to draw a line straight down from this point to the x-axis, so this is a right triangle. In this case, this point right here, I'm going to call x comma y. So x is the horizontal direction. That's just the length of this side of the triangle. Y is the vertical direction of this point, which is the length of this side of the triangle. And we call this central angle here theta. Well, in this case, cosine of theta, well, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, so x over 1, which is equal to x. Sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse. The opposite is y. The hypotenuse is 1, so y. So this point on the unit circle is actually given by cosine theta comma sine theta. So let's look at this in a little bit more in depth and see if we can develop the unit circle. Here I have a picture of a unit circle with some particular angles marked off. In particular, this is pi over 6, pi over 4, and pi over 3. In terms of degrees, we have 30, 45, and 60 degrees. So we remember that the x-coordinate is cosine of theta, and the y-coordinate is sine of theta. Well, we know that cosine of 30 degrees, or cosine of pi over 6, is the square root of 3 over 2. Sine of pi over 6, or sine of 30 degrees, is 1/2. So that point is square root of 3 over 2, comma 1/2. For 45 degrees, or pi over 4, sine and cosine of theta are both square root of 2 over 2. Cosine of 60 degrees, or cosine of pi over 3, is 1/2. Sine of 60 degrees, or sine of pi over 3, is square root of 3 over 2. And we can continue this going around with changing signs. So for example, this point here would be minus 1/2 square root of 3 over 2. This, the x-coordinate is negative, but the y-coordinate is positive. And once again, we change the x-coordinate, so negative square root of 3 over 2, comma 1/2. Here, both x and y would be negative, and here x positive and y negative. So we can fill in the rest of this unit circle. But the idea is it's always cosine first and then sine, because whenever I look at this particular triangle here, here's x and here's y. And if this is 30 degrees, or pi over 6, and my radius is 1, then cosine is going to be adjacent over hypotenuse, x over 1, or just x, root 3 over 2. So this is how the unit circle works and how we can figure out what it is. We're just looking at the x-coordinate being cosine, the y-coordinate being sine, because that's how these triangles are built.